All right, we should be good. Can y'all hear me? Let me double check and make sure y'all can hear me. For some reason, I think y'all can't hear the music though. Oh, there we go. Now we're in here. We are in the building, man. Shout out to the gang. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. Hopefully y'all can hear the sound is good. I think so. I see several of y'all in here showing love. Shout out to the gang. Yeah, we're in the building. We're back. Welcome to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Show. I'm your host ClassE at patreon.com/ClassEbeats. By the way, the link is in the description as well as in the pinned comment in the chat. Wow, we've got a lot to get into today. Y'all know it's Friday, so we usually have a super action-packed show for you today. We're going to talk about David. We're going to get into, well, not a new case necessarily, but a case that there's been a lot of news about and we haven't covered here yet on the channel, and that is the case of Anna Kepner. Absolutely insane case. We're going to talk about Karen Reed, Candace Owens, and her lawsuit, defamation lawsuit. It's going to get crazy. So thank y'all again to everyone that's in the building. I got to say what's up to the people before we get started though. We've got, of course, my awesome, amazing Amy is in here doing what she does. Let's be amazing. Thank you, Amy, for being in the building. Jay Buckmaster's in here. We got Mr. Brown is back at it as well. Got to see him on the show last night and yesterday for Christmas. Good to see you in here again, Mr. Brown. Julie is back in here. Oh, Julia Lee is in the building as well. Good to see you in here. All right, we're going to go ahead and get right into it because as y'all know, on Fridays, we usually have a lot of topics to cover. So if you haven't yet, please make sure you like the video on your way in. Likes are free, helps the channel continue to grow, lets the algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show, shares the video, the channel, this live stream out with more people. There are already a ton of y'all that have liked the video so well, so thank y'all for doing that so far. And I'll be reminding you as we go throughout the show. If you're feeling extra generous, you can share the video as well. You can share it on Facebook, Instagram, X. You can share it via text in your group chat, or you can just send it to someone individually. So thank you to those of you who regularly do that as well. I will be reading super chats as we go throughout the show too. So thank you again to those of you who go the extra mile and send super chats as well. We don't ask for them, but it's so thoughtful that y'all continue to show up, support, and keep the lights on here on the ClassE Show. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into it like I said. So thank you to everyone that's in here. Shout out to my guy Keith, always showing up and showing love as well. Be safe out there, staying warm in Chicago, Keith, because I know you're holding it down. Let's get into this first topic. And this is an interesting one, as usual, when it comes to this David investigation. We've been covering and investigating everything that's been happening between the LAPD, David and his camp, David's manager, and the Celeste Rivas investigation. So now we've got some updates from a private investigator who's been mainly featured a lot throughout this entire investigation, able to give some information and insight into what's going on with the medical examiner, what's going on to the LAPD, and where they are possibly at in the progress of this investigation. Now we're actually going to hear, before we get to the private investigator, we're going to hear from Lauren Conlon, and she's over there at the Los Angeles Magazine videos, and she's going to talk about some of the things she's been seeing when it comes to her investigation into this entire situation. And then we'll go over and we'll hear from the private investigator who has some updates about the medical examiner. Check this out.
That there was news that
Oh, I'm sorry. I had it on super speed, so let's slow it down a little bit.
Robert Morgenroth, who is David's tour manager, and he is the GM of Mogul Vision. He was on the stand in front of the grand jury for 3 days. This was reported, and I am shocked that more people did not react the way I did to that, and maybe they did, but I missed it. And again, I'm not saying, oh, I'm so special that I reacted, the way you're supposed to react, but 3 days for one witness on the stand. And look, I don't know how this courtroom operates. Is it 9:30 to 5 with a lunch break and minor breaks? Or when I covered the Diddy trial, we did about 9:45 to 3 p.m. with small breaks and a lunch break. But either way, one person on the stand is an extremely long time. That is a lot of questioning. I haven't heard thus far anyone else being on the stand as long as Robert Morgenroth, which really makes me ask, what did he know? What does he know? And
Everything.
there were the TMZ reports that he walked out. He told his lawyer that the prosecutor really got on him for not calling the police with the information that he had, which, you know, we don't know what that is. And it involves Celeste, but we don't know if he didn't call the police about an alleged relationship. We don't know if he didn't call the police about possibly her death, which, look, I don't think it was about the latter. I have a feeling that he maybe heard a rumor or got wind from somebody else in the camp, like, hey, that girl looks young. Oh, by the way, she is young. She's a minor.
And that's exactly what I said. If you know that and you see that, I mean, asking him why he didn't call the police, I think is pretty obvious, right? This is somebody who benefits from David making money. So if David's not touring, if David's not making money, if he's caught up in a situation with an underage girl, Celeste Rivas, then there's going to be trouble. So of course the manager's not going to call the police. Why would he do that? I mean, he's got his cash cow he needs to keep intact, David. So that's, I believe, and I agree with Lauren here, that is most likely the reason that they asked him why he didn't call the police, because he knew Celeste was underage. He knew David was hanging around with her and they were heavily involved. It's the only thing that makes sense in my opinion.
And possibly Robert Morgenroth was like, well, that's none of my business. I just want to keep the tour moving because it's so successful and I see dollar signs, whatever. You know, I have to ask myself again, he must have known more than Josh Marshall. I mean, I was covering this case pretty early on, and I did have a few direct messages exchanged with Josh Marshall, but it was mainly to clear the record about something, about an alleged email pertaining to Celeste that Josh said he never received. And in turn, he had written on this TikTok video, it was a Girl Town USA's video, that he didn't really have any contact with David. And I was like, wait, that's kind of weird. Usually a manager and an artist, they do have contact, but it sounds like Robert Morgenroth was the main day-to-day contact. So, you know, Josh Marshall, everything he said is most likely true at this point, that he didn't have a ton of communication with David because somebody else did. So again,
it's hard to
I
believe.
am just sitting here like, dude, that's an incredibly long time to be on the stand. What kind of questions were they asking him? I mean, really, if you have any thoughts on that, please drop it in the comments, just the questions you think that they were asking. I do want to go over this at some point, and I want to bring in either Garagos or another attorney to sort of surmise what more they could have been asking. And I mean, I will get to Steve's post in a minute, but just piggybacking off of that, I had said also that I felt like the medical examiner's office, you know, they had her toxicology report back. They had possibly some information as to how she died. Now, it's possible that they were unable to determine her cause of death conclusively because her body was in such a poor state. However, that doesn't mean that you can't rule the manner of death a homicide if the cause of death is deferred. So I think that they while they may not have, again, conclusively what happened to her, I think they have enough information that they didn't want to be released to the public because they didn't want any additional speculation.
Which, if that's being the case, my thing is, why haven't there been an arrest? If the medical examiner says, hey, this is the cause of death, and the DA's office says, okay, we have all this information we've been collecting about David being around her, David being involved with her, knowing the location, him driving the Tesla shortly before she disappeared out to the desert and then returning. Why haven't there been an arrest? What's going on here? Somebody killed this woman. And now they were saying that the LAPD believes there are more than one person involved. If that's the case, then what are we doing here? Let's actually get into what Steve had to say. This is the investigator. He's been on TMZ before, and he's been heavily involved in investigating this case with Celeste Rivas. He broke the information about the medical examiner before and what they were finding, and also news from the LAPD. Excuse me. Check this out. What does Steve say over at SF_investigates on X? Make sure y'all go follow him. He says, I strongly believe that the cause and manner of death have been determined and that the medical examiner's investigative report is complete in the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. And have been since November 20th or 21st. Although it has been reported that the court denied the LAPD's first request for a security hold on the medical examiner's files, I believe that reporting is incorrect. Security holds are not requested from the court. They are made directly by a requesting agency to the medical examiner's office by email, and they then evaluated internally, which we already saw. The medical examiner said, I don't like that you guys are trying to withhold this information from the public. We believe in transparency here at the medical examiner's office, and I believe that the community should be able to know. The public should be able to know what went on here. And the police were like, that's cool. We don't care. We don't want this information out there. So in its press release, the medical examiner's office stated that it denied the initial request on September 15th. The medical examiner's office said, we're going to let the people know what's going on. And Steve also says, I'm confident there was an understanding that once the cause and manner of death were determined, most likely last month on the 20th or 21st, LAPD would be notified and given a specific window, like 24 or 48 hours, to seek an ex parte court order to seal the files. Basically, the medical examiner's office would give LAPD a heads up, say, hey guys, we've got an update. We know the cause of death. We know the manner of death. And then that's going to give the LAPD time to go to the court, say, Your Honor, please, we do not want this information out for X, Y, and Z. I believe the LAPD then went to the court seeking to have the file sealed, since their request for a security hold had been denied because the medical examiner's office did not believe a lack of transparency was justified, just like we just said. It's also important to note that the LAPD stated in its own press release that it sought the court order only so detectives could learn of the details of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death before the public, and not to undermine transparency. Okay, well, I'm not buying that, because we haven't seen any information when it comes to this investigation other than some videos obtained by TMZ and some differing testimony from Celeste's mother. If the detectives have now received that information, shouldn't the documents now be unsealed? Maybe. How does the process go? I continually hear it said things have to be kept completely secret so it doesn't jeopardize the case, but nobody ever explains how it jeopardizes the case. Exactly. Either a person is guilty or they are not. If they are truly guilty, then you cannot overcome the evidence. Attached is a screenshot from the LA County Medical Examiner's own policies and procedures on security holds. This is just my belief. I do not have any inside knowledge about this. So here's what it says. It says the placement of a security hold by law enforcement agency on a homicide, officer involved shooting, in custody death, or other medical case will limit the amount of case specific information that may be released to the media or other interested parties by the Department of Medical Examiner. Basically saying, listen, if this is a certain type of case, we'll hold the information and give the LAPD a chance to see this information first before we release it to you guys. The placement of a security hold does not restrict the release of the case number, name, date of birth, or date of death, which we should be able to find out. If we can find out the date of death, has that been determined yet? Then maybe we could get more information there. All requests for security holds must be submitted in writing via email to the Department of Medical Examiner's Public Information Officer. The request should be on an agency letterhead dated and signed by a supervisory personnel on the requester's agency, sergeant, lieutenant, or other supervisor. Once a security hold has been submitted in writing, it will be reviewed by the DME for determination. If the hold is approved, written authorization is requested from the law enforcement agency to release the security hold. Should the request organization determine it's necessary to extend the approved hold, it must be submitted in writing. So again, this is something we won't know about or hear about until very later on, if this even took place, because this is a back and forth that's going to go on between the LAPD and the medical examiner's office. If the medical examiner approves a security hold on the case, any written press release or public statements by the handling law enforcement agencies should be coordinated with the medical examiner's PIO. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. Interesting information. And if This information is out there about the cause of death for Celeste Rivas. I think that's going to paint an entirely different picture of who is involved and how they were involved. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Man, we've got 6,000 of y'all in the building, and thank you the 300 of you that liked the video. If y'all could please like the video. I don't ask for much on this channel. Really, that's the only thing I ask for. Y'all make sure you take a second, like the video. Likes are free. All right. I know y'all can do it. I want to read a couple of comments and see what y'all are saying before we get into our next topic. We got to put Judge Whitaker up here. And let me see what y'all are saying about this David situation. The whole David thing is creepy. There was an incinerator in the house. We talked about that. Yep. Good afternoon to those of y'all just joining us too. Who has an incinerator lying around? And even if it's alleged that David was going to use it for a music video. TMZ reported that even if he was going to use it for a music video, why did he get it sent to his house? Why didn't he get it sent to the location where the music video was going to be filmed? And then as he was going on tour, or if he was going to use it on tour, he didn't bring the incinerator with him. So again, very strange situation. And I can even imagine it would be easier, instead of buying one, you could just find somebody that has one and rent it and use it that way. Because what are you going to do with the incinerator after you're done? You're going to hold on to it? I don't know what David had going on. Very, very strange. Very, very weird. And thank y'all to those of you who are in here. We got someone from Italy in the building. Shout out to Italy. Good to see our international gang in the building as well. All right, let's go ahead and get into this next story. Let me double check and make sure I didn't miss anybody. And we'll get started because this one is wild. So recently, down in Florida, there has been a deputy that is looking like he's going to be charged for assaulting and battering an inmate. Now, we're going to get into the full video. I'll show you guys what happened. You can share your thoughts on this. See if you think it was excessive. See if you think the charges were right. He was originally arrested, and we'll get into the charges here shortly. But this video is tough to watch, especially seeing that this man is detained. Something we've seen before. And y'all know, man, when it comes to Florida, we've covered it here on this channel. It's just the law there when it comes to police officers interacting with citizens. It needs a lot of work. What do we have here? New, a detention sergeant arrested for battery on inmates, multiple inmates. He's been fired. DeSoto County, Florida deputy Louis Tovar, he's 36 years old, arrested on 2 counts of battery after December 13th, the 2025 incident at DeSoto County Jail, where he used unlawful force against 2 inmates while on duty. The incident sparked an administrative review and a criminal investigation bureau probe. Tovar has since been relieved of his duties and terminated. He's fired. Sheriff Porter commented, "We are not above the law and must be held accountable for our actions, just as any other citizen should be." Wow, that's rare to hear. Let's see what happened. Oh, and again, I'm sorry, guys. I need to make sure I unmute this so y'all can actually hear. Here we go.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. No, stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Now you can see this guy is strapped to a chair. He's got blood coming out of his mouth. And this officer is just giving him the business. And I believe he's trying to secure his other arm. That's why he's telling him to stop resisting, but still excessive.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. No, stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
I'm talking to him, bro. I ain't talking to you, guys. He ain't like that, though. Hey, look, you already know what type of time it's going to creep.
Hey, turn around, cuff up. Cuff up, bro. Cuff up. Cuff up.
Hey, look.
Hawkins.
I was going to get my slides, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to get.
Get your slides.
And now y'all cornering me. It's making me feel like I'm targeting me, bro.
Yeah.
Real, bro.
Okay.
I don't care about anything. I don't care about anything.
That was too awesome.
Shit, are you okay? Why are you?
And this is the same officer that's doing that. Same officer that was punching the guy in the stomach. Stop resisting, stop resisting, stop resisting. It's the same one that just drop kicked this dude.
Why are you?
I'm so sorry.
You're good.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry for you.
okay?
I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, get up.
Yeah,
And then he apologized, said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, you okay? Bro, what were you doing? You stretched your foot out and kicked him in the face.
I'm so sorry for you.
Yeah, just turn around.
Yeah, I'm so.
Turn around.
I'm so sorry for you,
Turn
bro.
around.
Yeah,
Go out.
I'm so sorry for you.
No,
bro.
Can all deputies second floor, please?
Yeah.
All right, you gotta be, you gotta have fighting some demons, mentally ill, I don't know what, to just straight up do that to somebody that's defenseless. Hey, maybe he has some personal stuff going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't get in my face like.
Still going.
Stop. Stop.
Yeah. Put him on the floor. Yeah.
Get a stick max, please. Get a stick max. I told you to stop.
How you forget there's cameras everywhere?
Server's left. Which arm are you releasing this with? Left. Left? Okay, left. Left. Alright.
It's crazy.
It's off. You ready? Which one is it? Okay. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
This has got the camera right in his face. Come on, bro.
Okay, let me know when the next one's ready, okay?
And he apologized to the other guy. So now we're going to get into the news report and get some more detail on what exactly went down, what the charges are for this officer, because it gets pretty deep.
No. I was gonna get my slides, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna get.
Get your slides.
And now y'all cornering me. It's making me feel like I'm harder than me, bro.
Yeah.
Real, bro.
Okay.
I don't care about none of that. I don't care about none of that.
Breaking news at 6. You're watching a
This is
disturbing
another angle.
attack inside the DeSoto County Jail. A sergeant punching and kicking 2 inmates. Gulf Coast News anchor Christy Soto is here walking you through the video. And a warning, what you're about to see is disturbing.
Yeah.
It should have been a simple cell switch on December 17th, but it ends with an inmate attacked while strapped to a chair.
Another inmate just
Hey,
watching.
turn around, cuff up, bro.
You're looking through the lens of now former deputy Louis Tovar's body cam as he and 2 deputies begin to move an inmate. But the second inmate doesn't comply.
No. I was gonna get my slides, bro.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna get.
Get your slides.
And now y'all cornering me. It's making me feel like I'm harder than me, bro.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, I'm not sure what this man is in jail for, but imagine if this guy was innocent. Imagine if he had never been convicted and he's just sitting in here waiting for his court date, getting treated like this.
Yeah.
Real, bro.
Okay.
I don't care about none of that.
Tovar hits him so hard, his body camera falls off. The cameras inside the cell caught it all from up high. You can
Crazy.
see Tovar throwing punch after punch. One deputy tries to restrain the inmate. The other holds the inmate meant to be moved up against the wall. As if there weren't enough hands in the mix, an inmate wanders into the cell and tries to help them, lifting the inmate's feet
Not
and
allowed to
holding
do
him
that.
down, all while Tovar continues to attack. Once he's cuffed, Tovar finds a new target, the inmate up against the wall.
Are you okay?
Why are you?
I'm so sorry.
You're good.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry for you.
Okay.
Tovar
It's like he was just seeing red. There's something's wrong with this guy.
throws him onto the ground and kicks him in the face. The deputies around him apologize and make sure he isn't hurt. The first inmate we showed you getting attacked wasn't ready to get back in his cell. He pushed deputies and spit on Tovar.
Yeah.
Don't get in my face like. Stop.
Yeah. Put him on the floor. Yeah.
Get a stick max, please. Get a stick max. I told you to stop.
After hitting the floor, the inmate was restrained to a chair.
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting.
As the inmate's hands were strapped down, Tovar continues to give punch after punch.
Well, his hands were all the way strapped down. He was trying to get his right hand strapped down. So it was partially strapped down.
So hard to watch. After an investigation, Tovar was arrested on 2 counts of battery and fired from the DeSoto County Sheriff's Office.
We should mention that most law enforcement officers, this is not representative of them. Do we know how the inmates were attacked?
We're talking about Florida here. I'm going to let them keep talking at some point. But Florida, DeSoto County, y'all know we're not... Wade County, we're not going to get into it, but I don't know. Of course, the family had something to say about this once they saw what went down, once they saw this video, and they're seeking justice after DeSoto inmate was beaten by the officer. A family speaking out after their loved one, Darion Hawkins, was reportedly beaten by a correctional officer while in custody. Now we know his name. The DeSoto County Sheriff's Office confirmed that Hawkins was one of 2 inmates allegedly battered by Louis Trovar, who was arrested last Wednesday and faces 2 charges of battery. DeSoto County Sheriff's Office released the video footage showing the arrest of a corrections deputy following an internal investigation into the use of force at the county jail. The investigation centered on how 2 inmates were treated. In an effort to remain transparent, I will be showing you a video here in a few minutes, said DeSoto County Sheriff James F. Potter. The video you're about to watch at times can be graphic. It may involve certain emotions where you become disappointed, sad, or even angry. The video shows Detention Sergeant Louis Trovar using force against 2 inmates during an early morning shift on December 13th. WINK News reported that Haley Z spoke exclusively with Hawkins' family, who expressed their overwhelming emotion after viewing the video of the incident. I can imagine. They questioned why the situation escalated so severely. I know my brother all my life, said Hawkins' sister. In the video, it's literally he feels like he's going to be harmed. The sheriff's office said Hawkins was not compliant. True. Soon after Tovar's body camera was dislodged, a security footage shows Hawkins being taken to the ground by Trovar and another employee and another inmate, as we saw. Hawkins was held down and punched repeatedly. A family member said, nobody deserves to be treated like that. We're not slaves. It's messed up, for real. The video also shows Hawkins being placed in the chair and hit again. A family member questioned, you put him in the chair and you start punching him and telling him to stop resisting? How is he resisting? He was resisting, but that's not the question. The question is, was this an excessive use or unlawful use of force? Obviously, the answer is yes. Mr. Hawkins was resisting. We can be objective here, okay? He was trying to get out of the chair. He was avoiding being detained. Let's just be objective if we can. Following the investigation, Trovar was arrested on December 17th, and here's where he gets charged. He was charged with 2 counts of battery. The sheriff's office confirmed that Trovar's arrest was the result of a criminal investigation. Can we give a round of applause finally to the DeSoto County for acting quickly and swiftly? What else do you need to see here? Don't put this man on administrative leave. Don't give him some time to think about it. We saw what happened. Fire him, get him out of there. And honestly, we need to make sure he doesn't get a badge and a gun again. Crazy to think, man, someone who has so much power in that way was allowed to do this. It's scary. What's important to remember is that an arrest has been made and the investigation is still ongoing, both criminally and internally, said Potter. Trovar has been fired, but the Hawkins family is determined to seek justice. They're going to get some money. He is in prison because he did something wrong, said his family member. Okay, but he's not in there for them. He's not in there for them to beat on him like that, as if he don't have no family outside of here that cares about him, because he does. And we will not stop until we get justice. The family plans to hire an attorney to pursue the case further. Y'all know Ben. Ben is going to be up there, is going to get them taken care of. I've rarely seen an incident under the circumstances which reflect, such an obvious case of excessive force against a handcuffed inmate. There's no apparent justification for this use of force, said Ed Obayashi. All right, so he's an excessive force expert, apparently. Officials emphasize that correction staff are not above the law and will be held accountable when policies or laws are violated. The DeSoto County's Sheriff's Office is continuing the investigation into the incident. WINK News will provide updates as more information becomes available. And my question is, I have a couple of questions about this. One, how did they find out this incident took place? Because I'm surprised that, especially since we see what happens here in Fulton County, right here in Fulton County at Rice Street, that this was not only reported, but that it was taken seriously. Because a lot of times stuff like this, stabbings, fights, people getting tased, it goes either unreported, underreported, or it just gets ignored, which is wild and it's sad to see. Also, I wonder why the other correctional officers aren't going to be held responsible for this, because they didn't try and pull him back. They didn't tell him to take a break. He was clearly, like I said, seeing red. He's so much so that he kicked the dude in the face. Was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. I thought you were that other guy." So are the other correctional officers going to be held accountable here in some way? Because they essentially just stood there and let this man get his you-know-what kicked. Well, now we know DeSoto County Detention Sergeant has been facing charges after beating it 2 inmates, the sheriff said. And we saw the video already. So DeSoto County Detention Deputy was charged with battery, fired, and arrested after being beaten 2 inmates at the county jail in Arcadia. The video and records show. This is going to be interesting because he'll probably be right back in the same jail where he was beating the inmates. Man, can y'all imagine them? Woo-wee. Say, hey, oh, you want to beat on some inmates, huh? Dumb. According to an arrest affidavit, DeSoto deputies found that there is probable cause for the arrest of former Sergeant Luis Tovar, 29, who was placed under arrest on December 17th. I thought they said he was 36 in the other article. Anyway, he said Tovar was released after posting bond. He got lucky, which was set at $1,000 for each of the 2 counts. So $2,000 for 2 counts of battery, following an investigation by authorities into the incident. Records show that the incident began minutes before 1 a.m. on December 13th, when Tovar, accompanied by 2 other deputies, was escorting 1 inmate to an isolation cell. When the detention deputies walked into the cell, there was already another inmate inside. And I'm not going to go through this play by play. I'll be interested to see how this plays out. And I want y'all to let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. Do you think this officer is going to do any time? Because with it being battery, 2 counts of battery, I don't know how the law would handle this. Obviously, it's not a felony, but it'll be interesting to see if he has to do any time. With him being a former correctional officer, I think the judge will have some mercy, especially if this is his first offense, and just maybe I'll make him do community service, do some probation, because boy, after what he did and why he was accused of beating the inmates, you do not want to put this man back in jail. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. Sheesh, man. It's crazy. Shout out to the gang in the building. We got everybody up in here showing love, man. There's over 8,000 of you. Again, I'm going to beg for likes, guys. Listen, likes are free. It takes less than a second to do. I know y'all are going to have a good time. You're going to have some great conversation in the chat. Just like the video, please. I am begging you to please like the video. Oh, and I'm glad I got it queued up because we got Kitty Cat in here with, she has been a member for 8 months. My goodness, says ClassE, working on Christmas, some real player-ish. Gotta get that money. You know that's right. I can't let y'all down. We gotta keep the content coming. She said, love you and Amy. Y'all are good people for real. Oh, I appreciate that. Amy puts the good in the in this couple, so thank you for that. For my 8th month B-Day, play my jingle. You know what time it is? They out here, man. Shout out to Sergeant Tovar. He was definitely out here. I agree. Thank you, Kitty Cat, for the love. Thank you for being here for 8 months. I appreciate it. Wow, amazing. And if y'all haven't checked out the memberships, make sure you do that. We got a ton of members only content for you. You can check out the videos. You also get instant access to any time that we drop a video here on the channel. So make sure y'all go do that as well. Check out the memberships. You get your name highlighted in green. You get custom emojis you get to use as well. So thank you to everybody who's a member. And thank you, Kitty Cat, for being over here Also, speaking of amazing, we've got my beautiful, awesome, amazing Amy E is up in here with the cake, reminding me not only that she has the cakiest cake in the building, but I need to make sure I get some lunch. Thank you, Amy, for the love. I will make sure I take care of that. Also, J Money dropped in the chat. Y'all, please make sure you go and support Amy. Not only is she in here putting in work in the chat, helping produce the show, but she also has her own YouTube channel where she posts content regularly. So you don't want to miss out on the content over there. You could go and watch the channel and binge watch every single video there. So make sure y'all go over there, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that Amy drops a new video or does a premiere as well. The premieres are super fun. And shout out to J Money, the big dog, for dropping the link in there as well. They probably put him in protective custody anyway. Those correctional officers all seem corrupt, turning a blind eye. Yeah, I'd be interested. They might get reprimanded in some way, but there probably won't be any charges. Proctor is yeah, I feel that. Get him up out of there. Get him up out of there. And the interesting thing, we talked about the Michael Proctor situation. Michael Proctor, according to what Post said, could potentially go somewhere else to another state and be a police officer again. I can't imagine him being a state trooper here in Georgia. That would be wild. Would they hire him? Maybe. It's still crazy though. Florida is wild, but I hope he's no longer allowed to purchase firearms as a civilian. This is so aggressive, and he's awful outside of work too. Yeah, it seems like there was something else going on there. Like I said, this man, he looked like he was over there seeing red. The way he just started going in on that poor guy, on Mr. Hawkins, put some respect on his name, was really hard to watch for sure. Thank y'all again for the love and support. Appreciate everybody who's in here, and shout out to all the members too. We're going to go ahead and get into our next topic. Speaking of Michael Proctor, this is right around the corner from him in his neighborhood, and we'll get into it here in a second. Probation, $2,000 for bail, and 10% of that's $200. Yeah. He getting probation and community service. That's exactly what I said. Yep. Probation, community service. They're going to let him go. They are not going to put a correctional officer in jail for most likely his first offense, battery. It's battery. And I think the reason they charged him with battery is probably because the inmate did spit on him. He was resisting, and things just escalated and went too far. Assault would just be if the inmate was laying there and the officer just came up and started. It's a little bit different. Battery is like, hey man, you should have chilled out. Either way, we in a shocking turn of events, we've got a really interesting and strange story here about a New Jersey police chief charged with kidnapping in Boston. What? I know it sounds crazy. Let's just go ahead and get to the news. I'll read you guys a couple articles on what happened here and what are going to be the charges moving forward. This entire story is absolutely insane. Check it out. A New Jersey police chief is facing charges in Boston for allegedly assaulting and kidnapping his ex-girlfriend while staying in a Back Bay hotel room. Today, he was arraigned in court. Let's head out to NBC 10's Oscar Margain. He joins us live from outside court in Boston. And Oscar, do we know what led to this?
Hey, Bianca, well, prosecutors here say this all started with a date at a Red Sox game back in September that went south. And the victim here accusing this police chief from New Jersey of not just verbally and physically assaulting her, but also holding her against her will at a Back Bay hotel.
Como first comment, Veneziano.
Ottawa, New Jersey Police Chief Carmen Veneziano standing on the other side of the law, facing a Suffolk Superior Court judge Monday, charged with kidnapping and assault and battery.
The defendant and a woman he was dating came to Boston, stayed in a hotel, went to a Red Sox game. The trip went well until it didn't.
Prosecutors say Veneziano assaulted his date and kept her at a Back Bay hotel on September 4th.
And we're going to get into what the actual assault was, but this man headbutted his girlfriend. Why? We're going to find out in a second. Crazy.
Prosecutors say Veneziano assaulted his date and kept her at a Back Bay hotel on September 14th between 3 and 5 a.m. after she allegedly locked him out.
Headbutting her by dragging her by her legs, by holding her down on the bed, preventing her from leaving the room or even leaving the bed, applying what she described as pressure points to her body that were painful.
Hotel staff ended calling police, and the matter seemed to have ended, leading both Veneziano and the victim to go home their separate ways. The victim, not identified by authorities, allegedly called Boston police days later to report what happened, eventually leading to a grand jury indictment.
Since this incident, there's been no further reports of any contact of any concerning kind.
The 47-year-old's lawyer defending his reputation as a man who has dedicated 25 years to law enforcement, 5 of those serving as a Ottawa police chief. Though his
I mean, what does that mean? This is just an isolated incident. He just got mad. He was raging. And he headbutted her because he wanted her to go home. Okay.
25 years to law enforcement, 5 of those serving as a Ottawa police chief, though his troubles with the law began earlier this year.
He does not have a criminal record history, but for an OUI conviction stemming from earlier this year.
Ottawa's mayor sharing the news over the weekend, placing his chief on leave without pay.
I was quite surprised. I have faith in him as a person. We'll have to see what happens with the
mayor.
Charges.
Now, Veneziano is set to post bail, a $25,000 cash bail to be precise. He is also going to be wearing a GPS monitor while this case continues. The judge did order him to stay away from the victim and the victim's hometown. Reporting live from Boston, Oscar Margain, NBC 10 Boston.
And then, of course, he has an OUI. Listen, can we all just agree? And with all due respect to my Boston folks, I know some of y'all, a lot of y'all watch the channel. When we hand out driver's licenses in Boston and the surrounding area, should they just automatically hand out an OUI? Like, it would make things so much easier in Boston. If you're driving and you get pulled over and you've been drinking, you've got 2 cars. You've got your license, you got your OUI card. Your first time, just hand the officer your OUI and tell them, when am I going to need to be in court? Because everybody's out there drinking and driving. Rest in peace to John O'Keefe. So now we're going to get more details about what happened in this situation from WCV in Boston.
Ed, Carmen Veneziano posted the $25,000 bail, and he must wear a GPS monitoring bracelet. During the hearing today, we learned more about what allegedly happened in the Boston hotel room.
First comment, Veneziano.
A police chief from New Jersey facing a judge in Boston this afternoon. Carmen Veneziano is accused of assaulting his then-girlfriend in September when the couple visited Boston for a Red Sox game.
The trip went well until it didn't.
The prosecutor says Veneziano returned late to their hotel room at the Four Seasons, but the victim had locked the door. After security was called, she let him in, but Veneziano then allegedly turned violent.
By headbutting her, by dragging her by her legs, by holding her down in the bed, preventing her from leaving the room or even leaving the bed, applying what she described as pressure points to her body that were painful.
She called hotel security, who called police.
They overheard her saying to the defendant, "You hurt me." That caused them to call the police.
The prosecutor says at the time she did not report physical abuse, and the couple returned to New Jersey together. But days later, she followed up with Boston police.
Yeah, because she was probably scared. And I mean, maybe she had never seen him like that before. Who knows? But that's a big dude. Headbutting you and dragging you across the floor? Oh, man.
Veneziano maintains his innocence and looks forward to addressing these allegations in court.
Veneziano is a 25-year veteran of the force, serving the last 5 as police chief in Ottawa, New Jersey. The mayor there now suspending him without pay. His attorney says he is known as a pillar in the community.
And they describe him as a role model and a community leader in the town of Ottawa.
Hey, listen, everybody makes mistakes, okay? I don't think we're going to throw this man out because he got in a back and forth with his girlfriend. Innocent till proven guilty. We never know what went on here. But again, all those accolades and all those amazing things that he did really don't relate to this case. If he headbutted her and he was dragging her across the floor, hey, man, maybe you should have just let her go. Was it worth all that? Y'all said he was raging. I probably.
The defense attorney also points out that Veneziano turned himself in after learning about the indictment. Earlier this year, Veneziano pleaded guilty to OUI in a different New Jersey community. Live in Boston, Sarah Conji, WCVB News Center 5.
They be out here drinking. So what happened? What did he plead? Now, we just heard recently, this is what went down. New Jersey police chief pleads not guilty to kidnapping domestic violence charges after alleged incident at Back Bay Hotel. So what do we have here? Cameron V, because I'm going to mess up his last name, is accused of pinning a woman to the bed, headbutting her during a trip to Boston in September. A New Jersey police chief pleaded not guilty to domestic violence charges Monday as the prosecutors accused him of assaulting a woman at a Back Bay hotel earlier this year. Also noted, he is being suspended without pay. Seems like we're starting to see more and more of this, which is very interesting. So Carmen, at 47, who leads the Totowa Police Department, faces 1 charge of kidnapping and 3 counts of domestic assault and battery in connection with the September 14th incident. And to think this man has been on the force for 20 something years, and all because of this incident, it could be over. Dang, man. His bail was set at $25,000. He paid the bail with orders to stay away from the alleged victim and submit to GPS monitoring. According to prosecutors, Carmen, and the woman visited the Boston for a Red Sox game. As we know, we went through all that. The trip went well until it didn't. They said at his arraignment. Oh, man. Carmen left their hotel room for some time, returning in the early hours of September 14th to find that the woman had locked him out using a deadbolt. So they probably got into an argument and he was just upset. Then Carmen spent the next half an hour in the corridor, alternating between pleas to let him in and profane insults, prosecutors wrote in a statement of facts. Wholesale security came to investigate the disturbance, and the woman purportedly allowed Carmen back into the room and told the guards it was okay for him to stay. Now we're getting more details. So he's out there yelling, banging on the door. I'm not gonna say that. It's a family show. Then security came up there and said, hey guys, what's going on? People are trying to sleep. Can you let him in? Okay, fine. I'll let him in. Once the guards left, however, Carmen allegedly continued to taunt the woman about her age, appearance, and priority relationships. What? Prosecutors said he pinned her to the bed and headbutted her, also pouring water on her and applying painful pressure to her armpits and pelvic areas. Okay. The victim believed he did it so in order to cause her pain without leaving marks, the prosecutor wrote. When she tried to get off the bed and leave the room, Carmen dragged her back by her legs, allegedly. Prosecutors say the police chief texted the woman, please don't get me in trouble. I'm sorry, baby. When the woman began recording Carmen with her cell phone, he allegedly pounced on her. This sounds like a regular Friday night in Boston. Hey, listen, y'all. I love my Boston folks. I know y'all be out here watching the show and supporting what we're doing. So I know it's not all of you, but man, doesn't this just sound like a regular Friday night? When the woman began recording him with her cell phone, he allegedly pounced on her as the video cut to a scuffle. Prosecutors further allege he took the handset from the woman after she tried to use the hotel room's landline to call down to the front desk. She was finally able to contact the front desk at about 5:15 a.m. and requested a second room to put some distance between herself and Carmen. Fair. According to the courtroom document, hotel security again responded to the room and called the Boston Police Department after they purportedly heard the woman tell Carmen, you hurt me. By the time the Boston police officers arrived, hotel staff had already moved the woman to another room. Carmen had allegedly tried and failed to access the floor with his key card. He was on the phone with the woman when officers found him by the elevators. Prosecutors said he acted nonchalant as he told them whatever happened was not worth talking about. Okay. According to the statement of facts, he provided his driver's license and police chief card when asked for identification. He also allegedly texted the woman, please don't get me in trouble. I didn't say anything about you. Okay. When she first spoke to police, the woman denied that Carmen hit her. So this is where more information is coming in. So first, she denied that Carmen hit her, leaving the officers with no legal grounds to take further action. Again, the headbutt. I mean, guys, we're innocent till proven guilty, okay? With the headbutt, he could have been holding her down, which he most likely did. I don't know why she would lie about that. She tried to get up, and he pushed her down, and maybe they bumped heads. Who knows? Man, these people. When she first spoke to police, the woman denied that Carmen hit her, leaving the officers with no legal grounds to take further action, prosecutors explained. Carmen allegedly told the police he would take an Uber home, only to follow the woman to her car for a long, awkward drive back to New Jersey. Back home, the woman had an MRI scan that showed swelling and fluid in her shoulder, according to the prosecutors, most likely from the struggle. Meanwhile, Carmen allegedly barraged her with text messages and links to love songs. Oh my gosh. This is an almost 50-year-old man acting like this. When she sent him a text referring to his alleged verbal and physical abuse, prosecutors said Carmen responded, "Shouldn't matter coming from a fat you know what like me. According to you, you're always the most beautiful girl that walks in the room. I'm just the ugly piece of garbage that walks in with you." Oh man, Carmen, it's okay. You're good looking. All right, brother. It's okay, man. The woman then contacted BPD, domestic violence investigators, and explained she had been hesitant to report the alleged abuse due to fear and misgiving about getting Carmen in trouble, according to the prosecutors. The statement of facts points to a 2024 incident during which Carmen allegedly reacted to a prior breakup by following the woman in his unmarked police cruiser, boxing her car in, and shouting at her. The couple ultimately rekindled their relationship last summer. Okay, and then they go on about how great he is and he's a pillar in the community. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. It just sounds like a bad night gone wrong. Did all this stuff happen? Did he put hands on her? I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. They did an MRI and it looks like she had some issue with her shoulder. Wild to say the least. Let me know what y'all think. Boy, it'd be crazy out here, man. Y'all, why are people like this? Insane. I don't get it, man. Shout out to my guy, Mr. Brown, dropping the 5-bomb. Not even leaving a comment. He said Merry after Christmas in here, but just showing love. Thank you for the support, Mr. Brown. I appreciate you. There's over 1,200 of you in here, and every single one of y'all have liked the video. Thank you, guys. I promise I will not ask you to like the video. I will not beg you to like the video for the rest of the show. Y'all have already done an amazing job. And we're going to keep going with the content. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for the support. He said the headbutt. Good Lord. Totowa, Lodi, Inglewood, the whole area is full of roid ragers. Yeah, we've seen it. Y'all seen Jersey Shore. Y'all know what be going on over there. Proctor would probably fit right in with these losers. Man. And he had to pay a $25,000 bail. Exactly. In Jersey, you are state property. That's just beating up your own belongings. Oh, those, come on now. Jersey's the land of creeps. That's crazy. Amy said didn't sound bad at first, but then the headbutt. Yeah, that's taking a little far. Taking a little far. Everything else, hey man, sometimes some people be into that. But we're not gonna go down that route. Let's get into a little bit of Candace Owens. And I know y'all are probably like, oh God, Candace Owens again. Well, we're actually taking a little bit of a different route when it comes to Candace Owens, because I've been wanting to look into and find out about Candace Owens in this defamation lawsuit against Brigitte Macron, the first lady out there in France. And we're going to get an overview of what's happening with this defamation lawsuit, where it's at now. We're actually going to hear from an attorney on some new information that's come out when it comes to this entire investigation, discovery, and the lawsuit in general. Check this out from NBC.
So the First Lady of France is doing something that may sound surprising. She and her attorneys are planning to try to prove that she is a woman. Stay with us here. Brigitte Macron, wife of the French president, Emmanuel Macron.
That's crazy.
Now says she's going to present scientific and photo evidence in court to prove her sex. This is part of
Ain't nobody want to see that, respectfully.
Going to present scientific and photo evidence in court to prove her sex. This is part of the couple's court case here in the U.S. as they're suing the woman on the right side of your screen, conservative commentator Candace Owens, for saying on her platforms, Macron was born male.
Photo evidence.
Brigitte Macron was actually born Jean-Michel Trogneau. That is the person that you are seeing in this photo here on the far left. I would stake my entire professional career on the fact that Brigitte Macron, the current First Lady of France, was born a man.
It's crazy.
So Macron is trying to shut down these claims and win the case. Owens is trying to get the whole thing thrown out. Let me bring in Yasmin Vasugi in here. This is a defamation case here from the First Lady of France here. Help us understand any of the context or even any precedent on this.
First of all, they want to set the record straight. The attorney has said this is incredibly upsetting to both President Macron as well as his wife, Brigitte Macron.
I can imagine.
They say it's a distraction as well to the president and his family. This is an opportunity for them to prove to kind of shut down all of the rumors and the talk of what you heard from Candace Owen there, to essentially prove that she is in fact a woman. As you mentioned, they're going to use scientific and physical evidence, if in fact this goes to trial, to make sure everybody understands that that is in fact the truth. And I will say,
okay, so when it comes to scientific evidence, I mean, I guess we could do a blood test. Pictures, I'm not going to get into the whole picture situation. I'll let y'all handle that in the chat, in the comments. But a simple blood test seems like it would be something to suffice, right? You can find out the information that way. We'll wait and see.
Hey, this is actually the second defamation case on this, because there was a defamation case that happened in France. This actually initiated with some French bloggers, in which the Macrons actually won that case, but it was subsequently overturned in an appeal, not because of the truth, but because of freedom of expression. I will say Candace Owens, for her part, has filed a motion for dismissal. And the attorneys from the Macron family have said, and I quote, "Unlike Ms. Owens, the Macrons welcome the discovery process and look forward to holding her to account for the reckless falsehood she continues to knowingly promote." And let me just say, Hal, as you kind of played some of those videos of Candace Owens, for folks to understand, I mean, I know she has kind of become this household name, but that is because of the huge following that she, in fact, has online. 5 million subscribers on YouTube, 7 million followers on X. So that kind of proves the point of what Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, and President Macron are saying, in which they say, we want to set the record straight to make sure everybody understands the truth in this situation.
We thank you for... Not that we really care. I just find it interesting because Candace is out here calling the First Lady a dude. So let's actually get into this breakdown from Nicholas Brooks. And I will leave a link to his channel in the description for you guys so you can go watch the full video. He's going to talk about this lawsuit and give us some more information on what's going to happen with the questions being asked, and moving forward, what information we're actually going to see from the First Lady. Check this out.
Zooming in on one thing: interrogatories in Macron v. Owens. Emmanuel and Bridget Macron sued Candace Owens in Delaware Superior Court for defamation over her Becoming Bridget series and related content, claiming Bridget was born male. We're talking about what interrogatories are, when they come into play, and what they could look like in this case. Very quick backdrop so the questions make sense. The Macron's massive Delaware complaint accuses Owens of running a campaign of global humiliation built on false conspiracy-style claims about Bridget's gender and the couple's past to drive views and revenue. They say she pushed the story despite prior French litigation and retraction efforts over the same rumors. That factual setup drives what each side would want to lock down with interrogatories. Interrogatories are written questions one party serves on the other, and the answers come back under oath on a deadline. They're a workhorse tool for locking down witnesses, timelines, and specific facts that support each side's claims and
they're also used to further get information about the alleged claims.
Offenses. In Delaware Superior Court, you really see interrogatories after the pleadings are set and the judge issues a scheduling order that opens discovery. So the questions you're about to hear are examples of what discovery could look like in Macron v. Owens. If the Macrons get to interrogatories, their first target is Owens' knowledge and sources. Their theory is she leaned on fringe material, ignored red flags, and pushed the story anyway. Interrogatories on that theme could look like this. Identify each person, website, video, or social media account you relied upon when claiming Bridget Macron was born male, and state what you did to verify the accuracy of each source before publishing your statements. 2. Describe all communications you received from Emmanuel Macron, Bridget Macron, or their representatives demanding retraction, correction, or cessation of your statements about Bridget Macron's alleged gender, and explain what you did in response to each communication. 3, state whether before publishing those statements, you reviewed any medical, governmental, or court records concerning Bridget McCrone's identity, and if so, identify each record and describe the conclusions you drew from it. Those answers under oath go straight to actual malice, what she knew, what she doubted, and what she ignored before she hit publish. The Macrones also need to show scope and money. Their complaint talks about a profit-driven campaign of global humiliation. A clean, damages-focused interrogatory could be, for each video, podcast episode, or social media post in which you referenced Bridget McCrone's alleged gender or related conspiracies, state the date of publication, platform, approximate numbers of views or impressions, and all revenue generated, including advertising, sponsorships, subscriptions, and merchandise.
This is interesting. What do you guys think about this when it comes to, let's say, France versus the United States? Is this somewhat of an attack on free speech in the United States? Because again, what is Candace Owens really saying? Is she saying something that violates free speech? And if it's going across, continents, really, are there different laws that should apply here? Obviously, there are different laws, but is that something that France can actually have a say in? Because it's filed here in the United States. Very, very strange.
One sworn answer like that gives the Macrones a map of reach and revenue tied to the allegedly defamatory statements. If discovery opens, Owens' lawyers will send interrogatories the other way. In a public figure defamation case, the defense wants to show these rumors were already out there and test how big the incremental harm really is. Interrogatories to the Macrones could look like this. 1. Identify all lawsuits, complaints, or judgments anywhere in the world arising from third-party statements about Bridget McCrone's alleged gender before July 23, 2025, and state the outcome of each proceeding. 2. For each year through 2020 through 2025, state whether you or your representatives gave interviews, press conferences, or public statements addressing rumors about Bridget McCrone's gender, and describe the substance of each. 3. Describe all categories of economic harm you contend were caused by defendant's statements, including lost speaking engagements, endorsements, or other opportunities, and identify the documents that support each category of claimed loss.
And I would also want to hear how did this negatively affect Brigitte? I guess is how you say it. I'm going to say Bridget because I'm American. How did this negatively affect her? It's embarrassing and it's annoying at some point, but is this the first time someone with this platform has said something about her? What's the argument here?
Those sworn responses let the defense argue the rumors predated Owens and forced the Macrones to quantify and document the harm they say her content actually caused. Step back and look at what interrogatories are doing in a case like Macron v. Owens. They're not just paperwork. They're how lawyers identify witnesses, nail down timelines, and force both sides to commit to their story on paper, under oath, before anyone ever sits for a deposition. In defamation cases, that often decides whether you can actually prove actual malice, causation, and real damage. Or whether.
Okay, so now I'm going to leave a link to that full video. Again, we're going to get into another video from Nick where he talks about what the requests are from both sides and how that could change things moving forward in this lawsuit. Check this out.
I'm Nick Brooks, a California attorney, and today we're looking at a different discovery weapon in Macron v. Owens, requests for admission. Emmanuel and Bridget McCrone sued Candace Owens in a Delaware Superior Court for defamation over claims that Bridget was born male and other conspiracy-style allegations. We're going to talk about what requests for admissions are, when they show up, and how both sides could use them to lock in key facts in this case. A very quick backdrop. The Macrones' complaint describes a campaign of global humiliation, an 8-part Becoming Bridget series, and related content that allegedly recycled false conspiracy claims about Bridget's gender and the couple's past to build Owens' audience and revenue. They say she kept going even after prior French litigation and multiple retraction demands that attached birth and marriage records. That's the factual context for drafting sharp requests for admission. Requests for admission are written statements where you ask the other side to admit or deny very specific facts or the authenticity of particular documents. Unlike interrogatories, you're not fishing for explanations. You're trying to narrow what's actually disputed so you don't waste time proving easy things at trial. If the other side admits a request, the fact is treated as true for purposes of the case. and silence or non-answers can even be treated as admissions under the rules in many courts. So, in a defamation case like Macron v. Owens, well-drafted admissions can quietly decide half the case before a jury ever even hears it. Timing-wise, requests for admissions live in the same neighborhood as other written discovery. In practice, you usually see them after the pleadings are set and basic discovery has started, when both sides know what facts really matter. Delaware civil rules explicitly treat requests for admissions as part of the discovery toolbox, alongside interrogatories, document requests, and depositions. Here, once the court issues a scheduling order in Macron v. Owens and discovery opens, requests for admissions become a way to lock down things like authenticity of records, prior lawsuits, and what Owens actually said on particular dates. If you're the Macrons, you want Owens to admit as many clean, foundational facts as possible. Sample requests for admissions in this case could look like this. 1. Admit that on or about March 15, 2024, you published a video episode in which you stated that Bridget Macron was born male. 2. Admit that before July 23, 2025, you received at least one written demand from counsel for Emmanuel and Bridget Macron stating that your allegations about Bridget Macron's gender were false.
Yep, and they told her, hey, just stop, Candace. Please stop saying this. Candace was dead set on moving forward. Shout out to Nick for this. Again, I'll leave a link to his full video in the description for y'all. Let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat. Is Candace going to be held liable for this? Are they just crying? Or is there something there? I don't see why it matters in the first place. I just think it's hilarious that this is what's being said. With all due respect to the First Lady. Don't sue me. Let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. Wild stuff out here, man. We still got 1,200 of y'all in here. Wow. Thank y'all. Defamation is not free speech. I agree. But as I mentioned in the chat, is this defamation? I don't know. If Candace, if this is what she believes, then I don't know. Amy said this is a Walton boy all grown up. Yeah. Made in the South, practices in the West. He said he's in California. He sounds like he's straight from Texas. Y'all said this lawsuit is ridiculous. I mean, we'll see. If it damaged and defamed Brigitte in some way, then I guess not. Who has jurisdiction over this case? Will it be in the US or France? Great question. Yes, this was filed in Delaware. Again, I said this in the chat. Y'all don't ask me how. I have no idea. Maybe one of our amazing community attorneys, our resident attorneys, will give some more information on how that is even possible for the French First Lady to file a defamation lawsuit in Delaware. I don't know. But yes, it was filed in Delaware right here in the United States, which is why Candace Owens is going back and forth about it. I don't get it. It's wild out here. All right, now we're actually going to get into a fun topic. I don't know if y'all had seen this, and I'm actually, if I'm being honest, I am a couple days late on this topic, but hey, what else is new? It's still fun to react to it and hear y'all's thoughts on this here. But we actually have new information, and I'm interested to see what y'all think about this. So let me know in the comments in the chat. It's official. The Karen Reed movie is here. Yes, and we finally got a trailer from Lifetime. Looks like she did the deal with Lifetime. We're going to see who's playing Karen Reed. We're going to see who's playing Alan Jackson, who's playing Yannetti, who's playing Alessi, even who is playing Turtle Boy. Yes, it's crazy. So I'm going to go ahead and run the trailer for y'all. Lifetime. Hey, I'm trying to support the movie. Y'all, please, fair use. All right. We're just reacting to this. Don't copyright strike me for this. All right. We're just showing y'all's love. We're excited for the movie. Check this out.
Call 911! We need someone now. There's a guy. He's unresponsive in the snow. Come on, John.
Just behind me is the location of the death of Boston police officer John O'Keefe.
Karen Reed, you have the right to remain silent.
I loved this man.
Karen, did you kill John O'Keefe? Karen Reed had nothing to do with it.
It just feels like this whole town is turning on me.
She got drunk, she hit him, she left him to die.
They all have their minds made up.
They're trying to fit the evidence to the narrative they already decided on.
Look at Hank.
It's outrageous. She did not run him over.
It's like I was the only suspect.
No matter how long it takes, no matter how long they keep trying, we will not stop fighting.
Everybody's so damn sure. Burned me at the stake already.
Accused, the Karen Reed story. Premieres Saturday, January 10th at 8. Only on Lifetime.
All right, so we got 2 weeks till this comes out. I'm interested to see how this goes. Now, y'all are saying this is not the one that was supported by Karen Reed and her attorneys. Dang, that's tough. It'll still be interesting to watch, though. I don't know. I'll let them deal with the legal side. I don't care. I'm definitely going to be watching to see what happens. Let's actually move forward and hear from our folks over at Court TV on if this could have any legal implications. Shout out to, I can't believe they picked this guy to play Turtle Boy. Did my guy dirty, man.
Between the families, they're suing each other. Here to discuss is the former head of the homicide unit in Norfolk County, Massachusetts, Richard Grundy and Ben Chusta with us. Richard, what's your take on this? It's weird seeing that an actress playing Karen Reed obviously studied those body camera videos. Overall thoughts?
Oh my. I assume that this is going to be a Jackson Reed production. I think that, just by the title itself, The Accused, that they're going to tell the story 100% from her side, and that she was wrongfully accused.
She
went through a vicious 3-year cycle of court dates and trials to survive this. And
and all of that is true. I don't see how anybody could have an issue with that if they observed what happened during these trials.
Is one story there. My mind immediately goes to the suffering that John O'Keefe's family and loved ones will be going through as a result of this. And I question how both Alan Jackson and Karen Reed will address that, if at all, or just bask in their glory. And I suspect the latter. One thing.
I'm sorry. Okay. I hate how this is being characterized. I can guarantee you, I would bet everything I have in my possession on this, that if you were to ask Karen Reed, hey, Karen, you can either continue living your regular life, have your regular job, have your family, stay out of the limelight, or you can go through this entire 3 years of hell and have a movie made about you. Wouldn't that be glorious, Karen Reed? Come on, man.
That I don't get a full flavor of is that I was here in the midst of all this in Massachusetts, and I just didn't have any angle to get a sense of, did this really pervade the rest of the country as it did here in Massachusetts? And apparently it did, if they're going forward with this production. So that's still mind-boggling to me.
Okay, so apparently this guy's living under a rock. He said, oh, I don't know if people are talking about Karen Reed. Bro, get out of here.
Yeah, but it did. This was one of those cases that just kept rising up, and the people around the country caught into it, and it was amazing how you could look at the exact same set of facts and be convinced that Karen Reed was guilty or innocent. I mean, it's one of those cases that really polarized this country. Your overall thoughts on it, why it got to there? How did a case about a woman accused of killing her boyfriend because she was drunk get into the point where now there's a movie about it?
Well, I think it had a lot of elements. You had an attractive young couple. You had a police officer. There were a lot of elements that made this as something that would capture the imagination. And in my experience, however, I think the trial is going to be better than the movie coming out of it. It certainly was our experience in Depp v. Heard. I think the movie makers are trying to capitalize on a moment, but I think that your viewers would be wiser to watch your show and to watch the forthcoming civil trial.
Yes, a great transition, Ben, because the civil trial, Richard, to your point earlier, where this isn't over and it seems to have gotten nastier. The civil cases are pending here. And the judge, during the first meeting of everybody, implored them to figure it out. Otherwise, this is going to be years of litigation, and likely the feeling of dissatisfaction is going to permeate the process at the end of the day. That was basically the message from the judge. try to figure this out. Do you see that happening, or do you see these two groups going in all in to the end?
I don't see it happening because I think you're in civil court. Your ultimate decision is a financial one. It's money going one way or the other, or going both ways. And I think that's the lesser concern of all the parties here. I just wanted to touch on something that Ben said, which I couldn't agree more, is when these real life trials get to the screenwriters, they just never catch the essence of the brilliance of the attorneys who try the case. I've been disappointed many times. So, I think in the civil case,
Are you complimenting Alan Jackson, saying that he?
Nah, he's probably talking about Hank Brennan. Let's be real. He's talking about Hank. We'll see what happens here. I mean, they got a stud to play Hank, though, so I give him a little bit of credit.
He was brilliant.
No, I'm not at all. You say, like, how did it become this way? I agree exactly with what Ben said, but add into that, police overcharged him. There was a cognitive sense that she was overcharged because he was a police officer. And then this story that gripped the nation with respect to this vast plot and conspiracy was hatched by a turtle. Yeah. Turtle Boy.
Yeah.
And grabbed onto by Alan Jackson. So that's how we got here. The script was already written for him. The civil
they really do not feeling Turtle Boy at all.
Case, I think they're going to bang heads. And I think it's probably what both parties want at this point.
This is a dumb question, but let me know in the comments in the chat. Are you going to watch the Karen Reed movie? Yes, y'all are going to watch the movie. I don't know if we could do a watch party here. I might be able to figure out a way we can watch maybe clips of it, but usually with those types of things, Lifetime wants you to come over and support their platform, understandably so. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Yo, why'd they get this guy? Y'all see the guy they got to play TB? Did that man dirty. I couldn't believe that. It's going to be interesting, though. Shout out to one of the hardest working guys I know. Les Cleaver is in here dropping the 5-bomb. Says, I hope y'all had a great Christmas and we look forward to a new year. God bless each and every one of you. Best YouTube channel ever. Y'all help make it that way. Thank you, Les Cleaver, for the love and support as always. Amazing. You know, now that I think about it, we're going to do some new things on the Discord. CPE said, anyone up for an Accused the Karen Reed story watch party? We've got a lot of new things planned, not on the Discord, on the Patreon coming up this next year. We might actually do a watch party over on the Patreon. That would be something. What do y'all think about that? Let me know what y'all think. I think we may do a watch party on the Patreon. If y'all haven't checked out the Patreon, make sure you go over there and join. The link is in the description. I think that would be a lot of fun. January 10th. Let me see what day that is. I think that's a Saturday, isn't it? Saturday, January 10th. We might have to do a watch party over there. That'll be fun. Shout out to Mr. Brown in here dropping the 5-bomb. He said, I got 5 on it. Thank you, Mr. Brown. I appreciate the love. He said Merry Christmas earlier too. And he says Hank Brennan lost both of his 2 biggest cases. Yeah, he took a major L. A major L. You're right. If it was not authorized by her or her attorneys, then yes, there are lawsuits that could be brought against Lifetime for millions. Here's the thing. I haven't talked about this in a while, but there was a trend, and I think it's still happening. It's just not talked about as much, to where there were certain people who had certain professions and they were getting next to other highly successful people, and they were exposing certain things about those high profile people just to get their name in the headlines and just to get people to then go to what they were doing. And this was a strategy, and this is a strategy that's been used for a long time. So let's say, for example, I don't know, Lifetime puts out this movie and they make $100 million off of the movie, right? And it costs them, let's say, $20 million to do. And then they get a lawsuit from Karen Reed, from Alan Jackson about them being used, about how they use this. And then they win a lawsuit for, let's just say, $25-30 million, right? If you do the math on that, they still have $50 million in profit that they made from this movie. Now, that's being super dramatic. I don't think this movie will make $100 million. So sometimes in situations like this, if you know the law and you look at how this could play out, sometimes it will benefit certain parties if they just ask for forgiveness. And that's the way it goes. That's the way the law is set up. And you even have to think about with Karen Reed going through everything she's going through with the O'Keeffes and that lawsuit right now. You think she has time or the resources to file another lawsuit? But this lawsuit with Karen Reed and the O'Keeffes is not going to be even close to being heard or started until the end of 2026. What? So if she were to file a lawsuit against Lifetime today, I mean, Lifetime's going to make their money and they're going to be walking down the road, not even worried about Karen Reed. And if they have to pay her, they pay her. If they take a loss, they take a loss. It's the unfortunate way the law works sometimes. And in a lot of cases, especially when it comes to civil lawsuits, it's just more detrimental to the not to the plaintiffs, to the defendants, because they have to put in time, resources, and energy to fight the lawsuit in the first place. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Look at this movie affect the upcoming trial next year. I mean, oh yeah, potential jurors. Could be true. I hope. I don't think that Karen Reed civil lawsuit should go to trial. I think now it's going to be interesting because there are so many counterclaims. Oh shoot, I got to exit out of this. There are so many counterclaims in this Karen Reed civil lawsuit that now it's a whole mess. But they just need to go ahead and settle that. Give them their little bit of money they're asking for and just move on. I think the only reason that Karen Reed hasn't settled it is because they're saying that she was the one that caused John O'Keeffe's death. And we all know that's not true. Let me see. We got a quick Diddy update. I don't know if that is that okay to say? Can I say we got a Diddy update? And I'm trying to find a picture of Diddy here before we actually get into it. As many of y'all know, Diddy has been pushing and trying so much to get out of jail. He's sick of being in jail. And we've got another update when it comes to him and his team. If I can find him in here. You know, I don't know what happened to him. So we'll go ahead and I'll just put 50 Cent up here because 50 Cent's been he's been trolling Diddy for a while. We still got 1,200 of y'all in here, and thank y'all so much for liking the video on the way in as well. Let's go ahead and get into this. So Diddy, as we know, is sick of being in jail. He's sick of being in prison, and he actually went to the court through his attorneys and is asking for the judge to just let him out immediately because the sentencing he feels like was excessive. He feels like it was overdone. Just 2 counts of the Mann Act. He was flying some chicks out to have a good time. He feels like it wasn't fair. So now we're going to hear from Fox. What actually is it that Diddy is arguing? Why he thinks he should be released immediately. And as we know, that's probably not going to happen. He missed Christmas already. Let's see what they have to say.
On Diddy Combs, his defense team is seeking his immediate release from federal prison, calling his 50-month sentence on charges of transportation for prostitution excessive. CB Cotton has the details live from our New York newsroom. Good to see you, CB.
Hey, Lydia. Well, once one of the most powerful names in hip-hop, Sean Diddy Combs is now behind bars at that federal facility in Fort Dix, New Jersey, but his legal team says he should have never been sent there for this long. So on Tuesday, in an 84-page filing, Combs' attorneys asked a New York federal appeals court to immediately release Combs and send the case back for a new sentencing or grant him an acquittal. In July, a jury found Combs guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution and acquitted him of the most serious charges, racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking. In the fall, the judge then sentenced Combs to a little more than 4 years behind bars, citing testimony from former girlfriends who said they felt pressured to participate in drug-fueled sex parties with male escorts called hotel nights or freak-offs. But the rapper's lawyers argue this sentence was punishment for crimes that the jury rejected. They wrote in the filing, quote, "He sits in prison today serving a 50-month sentence because the district judge acted as a 13th juror. The judge defied the jury's verdict and found Combs, quote, coerced, exploited, and forced his girlfriends to have sex and led a criminal conspiracy," end quote. Throughout the appeal, Combs' attorneys go on to describe the case as an unfair prosecution of consensual sex between adults. We're monitoring to see whether prosecutors file a reply to these arguments from Combs' defense team, but we know during the trial that prosecutors repeatedly accused the former hip-hop mogul of trying to minimize his actions. For now, Combs remains in prison with a projected release date for early 2028. Lydia.
CB, I'd be willing to bet those prosecutors are going to start working on the reply just as soon as this holiday's over, if they haven't already. Yeah. Great to see you, CB. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
CB, Lydia, thank you very much. For more on this, let's bring in trial attorney Kelly Hyman. Kelly, I want to start just by sort of resetting the stage and reminding our viewers what Diddy was actually found guilty of. So take a look. It was racketeering, conspiracy, not guilty. Sex trafficking, 2 counts, not guilty. But transportation to engage in prostitution, 2 counts, he was found guilty. Now, of course,
which those shouldn't have been federal charges in the first place. The only reason Diddy was being charged by the feds, well, legally, we should say, is because of the RICO and because of the trafficking. The feds should not have been worrying about these 2 counts of Mann Act. It should have been done on the state level. Yet here we are.
Of course, there was damaging reputational evidence throughout the trial, including domestic violence and the tales about the freak-offs and all that. Is it true, in your view, what his lawyers are arguing, that the sentence of 4 years in prison was too much?
Does the punishment fit the crime? I think that's going to be key. So when we look at this case, we have to think about what exactly Diddy was found guilty of. He was found guilty of transportation across state lines in order to engage in prostitution. Now, the prosecution was asking for at least 11 years in prison. However, Diddy wanted him to be released right away. So when we look at the actual charges.
And y'all remember, it took Judge Submaranian a long time to figure out how he was going to sentence Diddy in this case, because they just hadn't seen anything like this. And even in the cases that they cited, they really didn't line up well with what Diddy was being charged with here. Do y'all think Diddy should have been out of prison for the counts that he was charged with? Do you think this was fair? I want to know. Not for how you feel about Diddy, not for what you think he did, for what he was actually charged with and found guilty of. Let me know what y'all think.
Exactly Diddy was found guilty of. He was found guilty of transportation across state lines in order to engage in prostitution. Now, the prosecution was asking for at least 11 years in prison. However, Diddy wanted him to be released right away. So when we look at the actual charges, we have to remember that Diddy now is serving 50 months in jail. And so a lot of people believe that in fact is fair, while Diddy is arguing that that is in fact excessive.
All right, I want to turn now to this case from.
Okay, so now let's get into this article here about what exactly their argument is. Sean Diddy Combs seeks immediate release from prison in appeals argument. They say lawyers for hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs urged a federal appeals court in New York late Tuesday to order his immediate release from prison and reversed his conviction on the prostitution-related charges to direct his trial judge to lighten his 4-year sentence. Not going to happen. The lawyers said in a filing with the Second U.S. Circuit of Appeals in Manhattan that Combs was treated harshly by sentencing by a federal judge who let the evidence surrounding the charges that he was acquitted of unjustly influence his punishment. That's not entirely true. A shocking strategy to me, which argumentatively could have been done well or not, was that the defense said, hey, listen, guys, jury, if this was a DV case and we were here trying Diddy for beating up and slapping up and putting his hands on Cassie, he would be found guilty. What? So you can't, the defense can't say that and then also say they want the judge to ignore that they've admitted to those facts along with a bunch of other stuff. So it's a tough situation. I, again, was surprised that the defense chose to go that way. As someone who would be on the jury, if I heard that, I'd be like, okay, well, I mean, this man's guilty of something. Combs, 56, incarcerated at a federal prison in New Jersey and scheduled for release in May of 2028, was acquitted of racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking at a trial that ended in July. Diddy was convicted under the Mann Act, which bans transporting people across state lines for any intercourse crime. Lawyers for Combs said that Judge Subramanian acted like the 13th juror in October when he sentenced Combs to 4 years and 2 months in prison. They said he erred by letting evidence surrounding the acquitted charges influence the sentence he was imposed. Which ones, though? They noted that Combs was convicted of 2 lesser counts of prostitution offenses that didn't require force, fraud, or coercion. They asked the appeals court, which has not yet heard oral arguments, to acquit Combs, order his immediate release from prison, or direct Subramanian to reduce his sentence. Defendants typically get sentenced to less than 15 months for those offenses. Again, I believe my guy Joe Tacopina said he was thinking maybe 3 years or so. I was on the side of 5, so we kind of met in the middle there. Even when coercion, which the jury didn't find here, is involved, the lawyers wrote. They said Cassie went and she wanted to be there. She just got pimped out. Dang. The judge defied the jury's verdict and found Combs coerced, exploited, and forced his girlfriends to have intercourse and led a criminal conspiracy. The judicial findings trumped the verdict and led to the highest sentence ever imposed for any remotely similar defendant, the lawyers wrote. At sentencing, Subramanian said that when calculating the prison term, he considered Combs' treatment of 2 former girlfriends who testified that the Bad Boy Records co-founder or founder beat them and coerced them into having intercourse with male workers while he watched and filmed the encounters, sometimes pleasuring himself. I don't believe that. At the trial, former girlfriends Cassie, testified that Combs ordered her to have disgusting intercourse with strangers hundreds of times during their decade-long relationship that ended in 2018. Cassie also, never mind. I'm not going to say what Cassie said. I won't spend this time bashing Cassie. Jurors saw a video of him dragging and beating her in the LA hotel hallway after one such multi-day freak-off. The second former girlfriend, who testified under the pseudonym Jane Doe, said she was pressured into intercourse with male workers during what Combs called hotel nights, drug-fueled intercourse encounters from 2021 to 2024 that also could last days. That same Jane Doe, I believe, was the one that said she initially wanted and was interested in them on her own, but then they turned into something else, which is wild in of itself. At sentencing, Judge Subramanian said he rejected the defense's attempt to characterize what happened here as merely intimate, consensual experiences or just intercourse, drugs, and rock and roll story. He added, "You abused the power and control that you had over the lives of women you profess to love dearly. You abused them physically, emotionally, and psychologically, and you used that abuse to get your way, especially when it came to freak-offs and hotel nights." Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, in the chat. Is Diddy going to get out immediately? Obviously not. Is the appellate court going to see it their way and actually get the judge to reduce Diddy's sentence. It'll be interesting to see what happens. And y'all know we'll be following it here. Let me know what you think in the comments and in the chat. Diddy, I think he needs to make himself comfortable. I think he's going to do a minimum of 2 years, 24 months at minimum, and then he'll be out. So he got credit for time served. We'll see how long he's in there, but it's very, very interesting. I hope he doesn't pick up more time if there was a resentencing. I doubt that for sure. Anyone in politics would never get 4 months on probation even. The corruption's there. And like Diddy or hate Diddy, this was all, never mind. I'm not going to go into it. Diddy was being bullied. And I think these charges, this entire federal case was BS from the beginning. The jury saw it. I mean, if you want to argue about it, talk to the jury. The jury saw what happened. The jury said, man, Cassie and Jane Doe wanted to be there. Diddy didn't coerce them. They knew exactly what was up. They enjoyed the lifestyle. They enjoyed the glitz and the glamour and everything that went along with it. And they said, hey, Diddy, let's have a good time. But the law is the law. And Diddy, you can't be transporting people across state lines. So we got to find you guilty of that. Other than that, Cassie and Jane Doe seemed like they were having a good time. We can't rule in. We can't decide based on the DV. And I think the jury made the right decision, unfortunately. And we called it here on the channel as well. So the sentence may be reduced, but he's not getting out before he's supposed to. I'm with Les on this one. But his lawyers have to try because nobody wants to be in there. So this story that we're going to get into next is very, very sad, very, very shocking, and even strange story that has been going around in the news for several weeks now, nearly 7 weeks now. And the reason we're just covering it is because now we're starting to see the court proceedings. Now we're starting to hear a lot of what happened. And the story I'm talking about is the story of Anna Kepner. And what happened with Anna Kepner? She was on a cruise. At one point, it was thought that she disappeared. Then she was found suffocated, asphyxiated, and dead in her cruise room. Now, it's alleged that her stepbrother, who was allegedly obsessed with her, was involved. Some text messages and conversations went back and forth between her stepmother and her father. And this whole story gets very, very strange. So we're actually going to get into the details here. We're also in several other videos after this going to hear some of the court proceedings and testimony from her stepbrother and from her stepmother. It's an absolutely wild and sad story. Check this out from Inside Edition.
Funeral services today for Anna, the 18-year-old cheerleader who was found dead on a cruise ship. We know her stepbrother is under suspicion, and he was allegedly obsessed with Anna. We've got the latest, including an exclusive interview with the dead teen's mother, who reveals she has been banned from attending her daughter's funeral, but is going anyway in disguise. Ann Mercogliano reports.
There's chilling new allegations today about the death of an 18-year-old cheerleader on a cruise ship. Anna Kepner's 16-year-old stepbrother, who is now under suspicion in her death, was said to be obsessed with her.
She was scared of him because he always carried around a big knife.
Stephen Weston says his son Joshua, who was dating Anna, witnessed a disturbing incident during a FaceTime call.
He saw her stepbrother come in the room when she was sleeping and get on top of her.
He says that Joshua warned Anna's family what had happened.
He says, Dad, I tried to tell the parents that this was happening, and they didn't want to believe me. He's like infatuated, attracted to her like crazy. He's always wanted to date her.
Inside Edition producer Emma Cady is in Titusville, Florida.
Anna's funeral is being held here today at the Grove Church. Because the investigation into her death involves her stepbrother, we're told there's a lot of tension among family members, and some even told they're not welcome here today.
Inside Edition also spoke exclusively to Anna's biological mother, Heather, who says she was told not to attend, but says she was determined to say goodbye to her daughter and will go in disguise.
Heather, what are you going to do to get in?
So I'm
going to
put a wig on and wear some really tall shoes because I'm 4'9".
Heather and Anna's father, Christopher Kepner, divorced 13 years ago when Anna was 5. Anna, affectionately known in the family as Anna Banana, was found dead in her stateroom aboard the cruise ship Carnival Horizon. She was sharing a room like this one with her 14-year-old brother and the 16-year-old stepbrother. There was a queen-sized bed. That's where Anna slept, and bunk beds for the 2 boys. Published reports say the 14-year-old was out exploring the huge cruise ship when Anna died. When the boy returned, he slept in his bunk, not realizing Anna's naked body had been stuffed under her bed just feet away. The sleeping arrangements came up in a divorce hearing today between the 16-year-old suspect's parents. His mother revealed that the 16-year-old is under psychiatric care.
Can I speak to has a psychiatrist appointment on December 1st.
She sat impassively as her ex-husband's attorney spoke about the cruise.
The 16-year-old was allowed to drink. The teenagers were given their own room in which to stay.
Not
just
appropriate.
A lot of circumstances that showed that the mother in this case was not exercising appropriate supervision over this child.
Very, very sad. And we've got another update here. We're going to get into some of the situations that went on surrounding this. Very odd situation, but you do see it in a lot of families when you're trying to go on a trip on a budget. Maybe you have to share living spaces, you have to share rooms, fine. But now we're going to hear about who the suspects are. And there's mainly one suspect, which I mentioned earlier, which is going to be Anna's stepbrother. Check this out. From Law and Crime.
Anna Kepner's death on a family cruise tore her family apart. And now that tragedy has ignited a separate, explosive legal fight that's forcing new, uncomfortable truths about this family into the open. It was supposed to be a celebration, a blended family vacation aboard the Carnival cruise ship, the Horizon, leaving port in Miami for a 6-day Caribbean cruise. Instead, when the ship returned to port, Anna Kepner was taken off in a body bag. Now, this hearing today, it's not about filing criminal charges. Not yet. The hearing that we have been following, it's related to a custody battle, separate from the case of Anna Kepner, but several of the people involved overlap, making this relevant to follow as we wait for details on the death investigation. Now, in the quest to determine if a home is safe, we're learning about the potentially chaotic decisions surrounding Anna in her final hours. The FBI has confirmed it's investigating the death of Anna Kepner, an 18-year-old from Titusville, Florida, a varsity cheerleader, someone who had plans after graduating in the spring to go into the U.S. Navy and one day become a member of law enforcement. But as that investigation is continuing by the FBI, they have not released any details publicly. The silence, it's only fueled questions and plenty of online speculation, especially after a Florida medical examiner ruled Anna's death a homicide by mechanical asphyxia. We'll talk about what that means in just a moment. Now, the last hearing in this custody case revealed that 3 teenagers were left alone in a single stateroom. Anna's 16-year-old stepbrother, who is now the suspect in her death, we've learned that he missed, according to Anna's stepmom, a critical medication on the night of Anna's death. A medication called clonidine. It's for insomnia. Also, we learned that no adult checked on the 3 people staying in that stateroom the night that Anna died. We do know that the only 2 people believed to be in the stateroom when Anna died, Anna and that 16-year-old stepbrother.
The one who was allegedly obsessed with her.
The other person who was staying in the stateroom was Anna's biological brother, but he says reportedly he only heard commotion, potentially an argument from outside the door. Now, we also heard the suspect's own attorney admit in court that criminal charges are actively being considered, saying this.
At this point, we're not sure what the FBI is going to do, whether he's going to be charged federally or whether they're going to turn it over to the state.
And now new reporting has added another layer to this case. For the first time since Anna Kepner's death, her 16-year-old stepbrother, described in court filings as a suspect, has been seen publicly. According to exclusive reporting by the Daily Mail, the teenager has been living quietly at a relative's rural Florida property while federal authorities weigh potential charges. The Daily Mail reports that the boys' whereabouts have been tightly guarded for weeks, protected by a signed affidavit that prevents either parent from revealing his location to anyone other than law enforcement. The agreement reportedly bars either parent from moving him without the other's written consent. Earlier this month, Daily Mail reporters located the teen emerging from seclusion to sell firewood from a roadside stand near a relative's home. Wearing a baseball cap pulled low over his face, the boy was unloading logs from an off-road buggy and selling them in $5 bundles during an unusually cold stretch of weather. When approached by reporters and asked about Anna Kepner's death, the teen reportedly froze and said only, "I'd rather not talk," before taking a business card and speeding away down a dirt driveway. According to the Daily Mail, 2 police cruisers arrived roughly 30 minutes later to monitor the secluded property, though no arrest was made. A source close to Anna's family told the outlet they were furious, questioning why charges had not been filed and expressing frustration that the suspect was, quote, walking around free. The Daily Mail also reports that both parents referred to their son as a suspect in court documents tied to the ongoing custody dispute, with one filing describing Anna's death as a, quote, suspected murder.
Yep.
The outlet further reported that Anna returned to the shared cabin after dinner on November 6th, saying she felt unwell and never left the room again. According to unnamed sources cited by the Daily Mail, her body was discovered the next day by a cabin steward, wrapped in a blanket, covered with life jackets, and concealed under a bed.
Now, somebody obviously put her there. The question is, who? We're going to get into some of the testimony from the stepmother and from her brother, who is now being eyed as the suspect, the main suspect, the number one suspect in this case. Very sad situation. We're going to cover this as we continue to hear new information. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Can y'all do me a favor real quick? If you've heard about this Anna Kepner case, can you put a 1 in the chat for me? If you haven't heard of it, can you put a 2 in the chat? And also, shout out to Les Cleaver again, blessing the people, gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Les Cleaver, y'all do the right thing. Say thank you, show some love. Les Cleaver in here, always being so gracious, so giving y'all a chance to check out the members only content. You get an opportunity to get your name highlighted in the beautiful green, and you also get instant access to all the videos we drop here on the channel. So thank you again, my friend Les Cleaver. Appreciate the support as well. Okay, so y'all have heard of it. Kelly's heard of it. Kim has heard of this story. Floyd says, shout out to Floyd in here. He says, so was he exploring the shop or at the door? We're going to get into it shortly, because a lot of this information we're hearing, it doesn't make sense. A lot of it doesn't make sense. So I'm going to just tell everyone what I'm going to do as a disguise. Right. Yeah. I hope her mother made it there, because she definitely gave away her whole play. Hey, you're not supposed to let people know your next move. She should know that by now. We're going to get into the stepbrother's testimony here shortly. Thank you, Les Cleaver. Okay, so John hadn't heard of it. I see you, John. There has been reports in the past that the ship's crew on various cruise lines have done unsavory things, so it could have been a crew member. I mean, someone clearly hit her body. I highly doubt that she was just grabbing life preservers and ended up under her bed, suffocated. Crazier things have happened, though. So now that we've done some research and looked into what happened or allegedly happened to Anna Kepner, we're going to get into a recent court proceeding that took place where her stepbrother, who is one of the main, if not the main suspect in her disappearance and murder, is going to take the stand and answer some questions about what went on and what was going on in the household, what his relationship was with his sister and the rest of the family. Now check this out.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure I wanted to do both.
Yes. So if there's any witnesses, you said, Mr. Molinari, that you have no witnesses here?
No, just Andrew Hudson and then Thomas Hudson.
Okay. And there's no other witnesses from you, Ms. Addison?
No, they're outside.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Mr. Hudson, please raise your right hand, be sworn in. Swear or affirm that everything you tell the court is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay. I'm going to need you, sir, to speak loud into the microphone so I can hear you, okay? Okay, thanks.
Sad.
Mr. Marinetti, you may proceed.
And he's 18 now, by the way.
Andrew Hudson.
And Andrew, how old?
18.
And when did you turn 18?
October 4th this year.
October 4th, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
And Andrew, where do you live?
With my dad.
And where is that?
In Ridge Manor, I believe.
What county is that?
Ask him
Fernando.
where he lives.
And how long have you lived with your father?
About 2 years.
Has your father ever denied you access to your mother, Sean?
No.
The entire time that you've been, has he ever told you that you cannot speak with, communicate, visit, or see Chantel in any way, shape, or form?
No.
So, are you currently in school?
Yes.
Let's back up a little bit. There was a time when, obviously, your mother was married to Thomas. You remember that?
Yes.
Obviously, you were alive during some of that time period.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever recall a time in which your father verbally, physically abused or assaulted any of your siblings, either TH or BH?
No, sir.
And he asked him, do you remember a time when your father abused you or any of your siblings? He said no.
You ever see a time when he was verbally or physically abusive to your mother, something?
No, sir.
Was he abusive to your mother?
They got divorced, correct?
Yes.
And then as a result of the divorce, you had to do, like most normal kids do, you had to do everything. Not a great thing, right? You gotta say listen to me.
Yes.
And so roughly between 2022 and let's call it January 2024, did you in fact have regular visitation with your father in her name?
Yes.
And were your siblings, both BH and TH, were they present during these visitations?
Yes.
Was there ever a time that you witnessed either yourself or your siblings saying they did not want to visit with or spend time with your father?
No, sir.
Sure not.
During the time, no.
Has there ever been any allegations of abuse, physical or otherwise, by your father of yourself or any of the children?
I'm aware of apparently a BB gun, someone getting shot with a BB gun, but other than that.
Asking about weapons.
And then, so during that time period, was there ever a time in which either yourself or BH or TH said they did not want to spend time with your father?
No.
So I want to move a little bit forward to 2024, and you're in high school, right?
Yes.
And what year are you now?
My senior year, 12th grade.
And when are you going to graduate?
This year.
And how are you doing in school?
I'm doing good.
Going to graduate on time?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any plans for after school?
I plan on going to trade school to possibly get put on an oil rig out in the Gulf.
And did you actually apply to trade school?
I've been looking around to see what trade schools are open to it.
And that's something you want to pursue after high school?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I want to take us back a little bit now to the spring of 2024 time frame. And was there an occasion in which your mother told you that she wanted to move to Titusville with both your two other siblings?
She said yes.
And what did she tell you?
She said that she was going to move over there with those two and that I could finish out my senior year of high school over here.
So your mother specifically told you that you could spend the rest of your time, your high school time, here in Hernando County?
Yes, sir.
Was that important to you?
Yes, sir.
Why was that important to you?
It was my senior year and I knew everybody over here and all my family's over here, so I would.
What high school did you go to?
Hernando High School.
And those are people that you went to high school with for the entire time there?
My whole life.
Asking them about high school.
So, did there come a time when you told your mother that you did not want to go to Brevard County or to Titusville with her?
I told her that I was thinking about staying over with my dad after I finished high school.
And how did your mother respond to that?
She said that this is what she was afraid of and that this is why she didn't want me staying over here.
So I want to fast forward to an incident on April 22nd, 2024. Do you remember roughly that day?
Yes.
So what happened on that day?
I was called up to the front office, and originally I didn't know what was going on, so I came up without my stuff. I realized my mom was there to pick me up, so I had to go back to my classroom and grab my stuff. And when I walked out to the car with them, they asked for me to give them my phone, and they powered off my phone and then told me.
Let me stop there for a second, just so I can break it down. So at the time that you were being called to, was it the principal's office or?
It was to the front office, the main office.
At the time that you were called, did your mother communicate to you at all, hey, the reason why that she was going to the school?
No, sir.
Did you have any knowledge or idea that your mother was going to school to get you on that particular day?
No, sir.
Wow.
And then when you get there, were you surprised that you saw your mother?
Yes, sir.
Was Christopher Kepner there as well too?
I don't remember if he was in the office at the time, but he was in the car for sure.
And then, so the mother, Chantel, escorted you from the office to Christopher Kepner's vehicle?
Yes. Well, it's her vehicle, but yes.
And then, so what happened once you got in the vehicle?
They asked for my phone, and they took my phone, I powered it off, and then.
So your phone did have a Life 360 or tracking device?
Yes.
Does a Life 360 or tracking device work if your phone is turned off?
No, not to my knowledge.
And then, so do you have any means to communicate with your father or anyone else about what was going on at that particular moment?
I was going to try to text my dad, but I couldn't because they had my phone. And I couldn't communicate with anybody.
Did you want to go with your mother and Christopher Kepner on that day?
No, sir.
Was that against your will?
Yes, sir.
And then, so what happened once you were in the vehicle and then you started the trial?
I gave them my phone. They powered it off. They told me wherever I was going that I was going to start school over here, which was against everything we've talked about. I told them no, I wasn't. And when we tried to come into a stop, I tried getting out.
Let me stop you there. So at any time were you trying to harm yourself or commit suicide?
No, sir.
You were just, what was your intention of trying to get out of the vehicle once they came to a stop?
Trying to get out of the vehicle so they couldn't take me away from everything.
And then what did Christopher Kepner do at that point?
They had held me against the seat, and he put his arm around the back of my neck, holding me up against the front seat, and she held me there as well.
Was your mother still in the front seat, or did she go to the back seat?
At that time, she had crawled to the back seat and started holding me.
And then Christopher Kepner, what exactly did he do with his arm?
He put his arm around my neck, like pushed me up against the front seat.
So was your head pinned against the front seat?
Yes, sir.
And did you remain conscious the whole time, or did you black out? Or?
I believe I blacked out once or twice on the way over there.
Man, that's got to be tough. Can you imagine being in school and being detained like that? We're going to get into the stepmom's testimony a little bit later and talk about what she went through and what she experienced a little bit more at length. Let me know what y'all think about this in the comments in the chat. And do you think we should continue to follow this trial, continue to follow the court proceedings on this one as it continues? Let me know what y'all think. Thank y'all so much for the love, man. Still over 1,200 of you in here, and every single one of y'all have liked the video. Amazing. I also want to give a shout out to everyone that supported today. Kitty Cat showing off the membership milestone, Mr. Brown, my guy Les Cleaver, and then of course my awesome, amazing Amy E. We're gonna get up out of here. We got a ton of content for y'all this weekend, so make sure you stay locked in. If you haven't yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. We'll also be live tonight with Song of the Night Live. We got a great show for y'all. We've got a versus challenge, so if you want to check out some of the music from the independent artists in this community, make sure you tune into the show tonight. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, and as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.